What's up, everyone? Welcome to Talk Verde to Me. Today I'm reviewing this shoe, the Mount to Coast H1, and talking through my shoe choice for an upcoming 50 miler I've been training for. Sorry, I haven't put out a video in like 3 weeks. I've been training for the Stonecat 50 miler where I'm trying to run like a decently quick time, and accidentally forgot my GoPro down in Massachusetts where I was, down there for the weekend, and actually got to run on the course for the 50 mile. Did like 26-mile long run on the course and was making a whole video on like that training week. It's going pretty good. And yeah, I forgot the GoPro, so I haven't been able to put out anything. I'm recording this on my laptop, so hopefully the quality's fine. But yeah, training's been great. I've gotten like a 75 and 80-mile week. And yeah, the course is a lot of like windy sort of single track, but not much elevation gain, and like not too technical, and so that's why I thought the Mount to Coast H1 would be a great shoe for it, because it's a hybrid running shoe designed for that like door to trail, gravel road, that kind of thing. But I think it can be taken out on most trails that aren't like super technical. So I made the purchase, I bought it, I've enjoyed Mount to Coast shoes in the past, the R1. So I thought it'd be great to give it a try. So the H1 is Mount to Coast, I believe, fifth shoe that they come out with. They have the P1 and S1, which are daily trainers, neutral and stability. The R1, which is like a road speed shoe, not really a super shoe at all, but more just a quality trainer. And then the T1, which is their trail shoe, and now this is the H1, which is their hybrid road to trail shoe. And what really appealed to me about the H1 is this new midsole foam that they're using, which is made from like livestock feed, so it's like really sustainable, but was touted as having like energy return very similar to PIBA, which is found in a lot of race day super shoes. It's what like Nike Zoom X is made from. And so when you're making claims that this is as good as those top race day foams, but sustainable and also durable, and the durability I buy because that's one thing Mount to Coast has done amazingly. Definitely caught my attention. And I have to say, the foam is pretty bouncy and responsive. Like, it definitely holds true to that, but it's much firmer than any of those race day shoes. This isn't like a pillowy soft shoe at all, but it's decently responsive. And one thing that sort of appeals to me about the shoe is that like it's not right now, like trail carbon plated super shoes are becoming a big thing. The first one to do that was the Adidas Agravic Speed Ultra. And sometimes I think that, a plate, or in this case rods, but like a stiffening agent in a trail shoe can be kind of tricky. You can lose some of that proprioception, and like this shoe leads to a lot of ankle rolling. And for this 50 mile, I've actually been deciding between the Agravic Speed Ultra and the Mount to Coast H1, and spoiler alert, going with the Mount to Coast H1. The midsole foams actually feel pretty similar in these shoes. This with the plate or the stiffening agent, like, does feel faster on road type terrain, but like with a windy course with any amounts of roots and rocks, like I'm going without the plate. Especially when you're going for a long time. I had raced a 6 hour earlier in the year where I ran like 42 miles in the Agravic Speed Ultra, and towards the end I was dealing with some pretty severe like cramping in my lower hamstring, and I think it potentially is because of running in a plate for that long. So that's something that really appeals for me. The Mount to Coast H1 is also like not a crazy stack height. It's 36 in the heel, 30 in the forefoot, which is pretty like middle of the road now. And yeah, it makes it much more easy to run on trails. It's not like a 40 millimeter stack height, like crazy high. The other benefit is the shoe is very lightweight. It's only 8.4 ounces in a men's size 9, whereas I think like the Agravic Speed Ultra is 9.5 ounces or something. And definitely like on foot, it does feel lighter. And when you're running for a long time, a light shoe can be sweet. I know that a lot of like Mount to Coast athletes have been going for the H1 over the R1, even on things that are completely paved, because it has like a decently lightweight but a much more responsive foam. Like the IAU 24-hour championships just took place, and Cole Crosby, who I know, he's a Mount to Coast athlete, he was deciding between these two shoes and went with the H1, even though on that terrain. It's like all paved road. Like the R1 on paper makes more sense, but yeah, this midsole is just great. Um, I guess while I have the R1 in hand, do a quick comparison to it. Yeah, the foam is definitely more bouncy and soft. The R1 has a decent foam in its own right. Like it's not like some crappy EVA. It has like some bounce to it, but feels like more firm, less bouncy. Like this is noticeably better. Um, the upper on the R1 is a little bit lighter. This upper, it's interesting. It has like more of like a like matrix style down here. That's like very breathable. I think it would drain great if it got wet. It hasn't gotten wet because it's been really dry here. And then up top, it has a thicker, very comfortable material, very padded heel collar. That is definitely a bit thicker, heavier than the R1 upper, but adds a lot of comfort, which is great. And I actually think it's an amazing design where it has plush comfort around the heel collar, but then nice and breathable in the like lower part of the foot where you're not as worried about getting blisters, which is great. One issue with the H1 is that sizing wise, it is definitely narrower than the R1. So in the R1, I got a size 8, and it has like a nice, very wide toe box. It doesn't look like an ultra rare topo, but it's actually similarly accommodating to them. Versus the H1 definitely like tapers in a little bit more here. And I heard runs a little smaller, so I'm an 8 in most shoes, but I got an 8.5 in this shoe. And it's definitely roomy in an 8.5, but with what it's designed for with ultra marathons, like I thought it would be the way to go, and I definitely have no regrets with that. I don't mind a roomier shoe. So if you're like, between sizes or like using it for longer things, I'd recommend going up half a size in Mount Coast H1. I guess the other big thing is the outsole of this shoe. So like I said, it's a hybrid shoe. It has, I think it's like 2 millimeter deep lug, so like very shallow. And the outsole is also made of like a TPU material, so like does not have good grip on anything wet. So yeah, if you're having wet roots and rocks, not the way to go. Like if you're doing a legit trail race. But when you're running on mostly dirt and like, I've hit dry rocks with this and it grips fine even when it's like a decently steep downhill. So yeah, the outsole is not super great performance, but on like dry dirt, if I was running races in like California or a lot of Colorado, I could see this handling most trail terrain, but not a mountain shoe by any means. Yeah, and that's like most of the things with the H1. It's just overall a really comfortable shoe. No plate, but like still pretty stiff. Yeah, decent bounce, but not overwhelming. Just no surprises with it. I can't really think of any major negatives other than, the outsole being kind of slippery. But, when I was trying to make my decision for my 50-mile shoe, even though, like, I think the Agravic Speed Ultra is probably a little bit faster, this is just a safer shoe. It's, like, not going to cut up my heel like the Agravic Speed Ultra can. It doesn't have, like, a crazy rocker that's, maybe going to mess with my hamstrings a little bit. Especially with like the heel rocker in this shoe. Versus, yeah, it's a very simple shoe to run in. Yeah, it's not going to ruin my race. It's going to let me do what I need to do. And yeah, will be the tool for the job. So I would definitely recommend it. Also, price-wise, it's $160, I believe. And honestly, like that's like in today's market, a pretty good price point. It's similar price to most daily trainer sort of like trail shoes, I guess the higher end ones, and daily trainer road shoes. I think that's how much like the Asics Nimbus or Kayano cost. And if the durability is as good as they say, and you can get 500 plus miles out of it, even better. I only have 40 miles in it right now, so this is more like early review, but I plan on getting a lot of miles in it. And if I do like the Vermont 100 mile next year, like I'm planning, this would be a pretty serious contender for me to wear there. And in that case, I'd get a lot of miles in it. But yeah, love the Mount Coast H1 so far. I will be racing the Stonecat 50 mile in it soon, in like 2 weeks' time. And yeah, really excited for that race. I think I've gotten in a decent training block. Once I get down to Mass for the race, I'll get my GoPro back and I'll put out a video of my training week that I recorded and then of my race. But yeah, no, it'll be sick. Hopefully between 7 and 8 hours finishing time. But most importantly, trying to get the win. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyways, if you liked this video, if you want to stay updated on the Mount Tecos H1, any other reviews and training videos, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and as always, keep on running.